Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about the open function in Python. So open function is a built-in function that opens a file and returns it as a file object. So with this file object, you can read, create, update, and delete files. And here are some common modes for opening files. So R stands for read. This is the default mode, so it will read the file, or Python will read the file. And W stands for write, so open for writing. And it will delete the existing data before it writes the new data. So we have to be careful about this mode here. And A stands for append, and it will append the data to the end of the file if it exists. And X, open for exclusive creation. So this is basically what you use to create a new file. I'm going to talk about reading from a file. Let me go ahead and uncomment this line of code. So reading from a file. So this is the syntax. Open and the file in the mode. And you open the file in read mode, which is what we are doing here, and put that file object in this variable file. And with that object, we can add the read, which is basically to read the content of the file. And we put that object into this variable called content, and we print the content. And of course, we close the file. So let me go ahead and just run this code and see what happens. Okay, so the content of the file is reading from a file, and sample text, and this is basically just showing us the syntax. Okay, so I'm going to just go there and open the file and just say add that word. This is how you use to open a file. R is what we use to open a file, which stands for read mode, right? Okay, so going to comment out that line of code, and let me proceed with item number 2. So I'm going to uncomment this line of code. So here, what I'm doing here is basically I'm reading. This is an example where I'm telling Python to read all the lines from a file. So to do that, I'm just creating a new file here, and I'm saying that not creating, but opening the file for writing, and I'm writing these lines here. So the mode that I'm using here is W, which stands for write. So write sample lines to the file. That's what I'm doing here, right? Writing this text or string into the file, and I'm closing the file, and I'm opening the file again for reading this time. So that's why the mode is R, and I'm calling the file object and using this read lines method. So what it's gonna do is basically it's gonna read all the lines from the file at what it says here, and I'm putting that file object into this variable, and I close the file, and this is to print each line and removing trailing new line character. So let me go ahead and run this file. Run this code. Okay, I get an error message. So I need to uncomment that. I mean, comment that out. And this also. And let me do it again. Yeah. So I see that this string are on the console in the output, basically. Okay, so let me actually open this file, or this file. That would be this file. Yeah. Okay, so let me try to actually delete the file first and run this again. Yeah, so it created a file and then write the data into it and loop through the list, basically, because this is a lines here is a list in this case. So I hope that makes sense. Let me comment out this item code and proceed with item number 3. So this is basically how you would append to a file. So here, if you notice, I'm opening a file called log.txt and using A as the mode, and I'm using the write method to write this string into the file, and I close the file. So if I run this code, yeah, we don't see any text in the screen or in the console because we're not using the print function in this case. But let me open the file called log.txt. Okay, so this is the file itself. Yeah, and this is what we wrote basically. So let me actually try to delete this file and see what happens. Yeah, so it created the file and wrote the text or the string. Let me actually just try this. Oops. See what happens. Another log entry. So if I remove this and run the code again, let me open the file. Yeah, so it appends the file or appended the file. Okay, so that's how you would append to a file. Okay, so let me, actually you don't have to, I don't have to do that. Let me actually do it again. Let me close this file first. Run this code again and open the file. Yeah, this is what I expect. So every time you run the code, it will append the string into the file. It will not override the existing data. So that's how you would append to a file. Okay, and item number 4. So this is how you write to a file. So let me comment this code. So this is how you would write to a file. So if the file does not exist, it will create the file and write this string into the file. So let me go here. So we see that there's no file here called output.txt. Let me run this code. Go back to the directory. Now we see that this file exists now after running the code. So if I run this again, so let's say this is another line. Let me run this file again. Or you know what? Let me remove this one. Or just uncomment it. This is another file, another line rather. And run the file again. I mean the code. Close the file. No, we opened the wrong file. Should be this one. Yeah, so we see that it overwrote overwrote the existing file. So now we don't see the hello world and this is the new line string. We only see this string. Okay, so that's how you would write to a file. And number 5, let me comment this out, is to create a file. So we are using X. as the mode here. So let me just comment this. So we don't see that this file exists in the directory. So let me run this and go back to the directory again. Now we see it because it created the file. This code created the file. So basically, again, so here before, if the file does not exist, this mode will create the file, as we said earlier. Let me run it again. Okay, so if the file already exists, we will get an error message like we see here. So we need to make sure that the file does not exist before we use this, this mode. But that's how you would create a file and write to a file, close the file. Okay, so let me comment out that line of code and discuss the last item, which is deleting a file using the OS module and pathlib module. So I'm going to uncomment the file, this line of code. So here, what I'm doing is I'm just importing the OS module, assigning this, this file into this variable or object, and I'm running this, line of code. So it's just basically checking if the file exists before deleting it. And if it exists, it deletes the file. And if it does not, this line of code will run. So let me go ahead and run this code. But before I do that, sample.txt, let me remove this first, that file. Okay, I get an error message. Of course, I have to comment this out. Okay, so the file does not exist. So you have to actually create it first. So the file name is sample.txt. Yeah. So now if I run it again, sample.txt has been deleted, which is, yeah, that's what we see here. So that's how you would delete a file using the OS module. Let me show you how to do the same operation using pathlib module. So let me comment this file, this code. So what I'm doing here is I'm only importing the path class from the pathlib module, and I'm creating a path object for the file that I want to delete, and check if the file exists. If it exists, delete it. Yeah, so I have to make sure that this file exists in the directory, which is not the case right now. So let me run this code now. Okay, so now should not be there. Yeah. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover in this video. I know it's a bit cluttered, I guess, but I just wanted to make a video about this because I'm also learning this myself, and I wanted to just make a video about it. So yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.